Okay, so I really need to get my PC upgraded or something because my disk is full. So I'm just going to read a letter really quickly. Oh, look, here we go. It's just a snippet of information from my mother's side of the family, whose name was Dorothy Dupree. But I'll just tell you the bottom line, right, because I don't know how much recording space I've got. The bottom line is, I'm starting to believe that MKUltra didn't just start, projects, mind control projects, trauma-based mind control projects, a la Joseph Mengele, a la Nazi scientists, a la Holocaust. They didn't just start after World War II. I'm actually suspecting they started at least post-World War One. And I'll tell you 3 anomalies quickly, because now I'm stressed because I don't know how much I can record. But I'll tell you 3 anomalies. My mother was born 10 years after her other siblings. There were 3 of them. There were twins, Lionel and Victor, and there was Uncle Fred. No, there were more. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 4 older siblings. Uncle Di, which is Welsh for David, who died in World War II. Uncle Fred, who was in the Navy, I think. Uncle Victor, who was in the Royal Air Force, including in Canada. And his twin sister, Auntie Sylvia. And then 10 years later came my mother. And they've done the old-fashioned version of family trees. Like, they spent 5 years researching the Dupree family tree. And so it was absolutely confirmed, the old-fashioned way from gravestones and birth records and all that, that Harry Dupree, my grandpa, was French Huguenot descent and Welsh. So that's all established. We've got the records for that. So my daughter just recently paid €150 to have her DNA done, which is traditionally done by the Scientologists and the Illuminati, who want to know who everybody is. But the amazing thing was, it showed no French Huguenot or Welsh blood on the maternal grandmother's side. Phew. And so either my Uncle Vic's 5 years research, the old-fashioned way of family trees, is wrong, based on gravestones and birth records and all that, or Ancestry.com or whatever it is, whatever this Scientology-linked online resource is that tells you your DNA, or they're wrong, or my mother was trafficked. The other curious thing that showed up in my daughter's DNA analysis was thousands of years old Romany gypsy strand. She sent me the link. It's rare, but it's rare, but 53% of travellers have it. So it's an ancient Roma gypsy DNA strand, and it shows up. So we've got no French Huguenot on the maternal grandmother's side for my daughter, no Welsh, but ancient Roma gypsy strand. So I'm wondering, was my mother trafficked? Was she adopted? Her godmother was Dorothea of the workhouse, I think in Dagenham or Ilford, somewhere around there. Dorothea was her name, and Dora was my Nana's name, and allegedly my mother was named between the two of them, Dorothy. But who names a daughter in hospital, or no, it was home birth actually, but who names a child after the godmother, like in the initial stages? I don't know. Why does my mother have no DNA parallel to her father, her alleged father? So did my Nana, Dora Dupree Nay Cummins, did she have an affair? You know, the war caused some strange things, or did she take a trafficked child or a gypsy child for MKUltra projects? I don't know. I suspect the latter, but I don't know. I'm putting this out there because there are 2 other possible child swapping. You know, this is reminiscent of 3 Identical Strangers, or so many documentaries that have been made about twins or baby swaps, or just weird stuff that went on. Tavistock kind of MKUltra, kind of Joseph Mengele. And the reason I say I believe it started at least post-World War I is because I believe both my mother, recently deceased, aged 87, and my father, still alive, aged 94, I believe they were both tagged and marked. I really do. I really do, and I have a lot of evidence for that. So my sister, Fiona, who I believe was murdered, I have strong evidence indicating she was part of a baby swapping project to examine nature versus nurture, the mother-child bond. I have a lot of evidence, along with Kathy Morgan and others, post-World War II, but I'm just, as my daughter's got this DNA analysis done, and as I keep looking at my mother's life, I'm like, this didn't just start after World War II, and this certainly didn't just go to America. It's like, oh yeah, all the Nazis, 500 Nazi scientists went to America post-World War II, and it was kept secret, and Hitler was smuggled out to Argentina and blah, blah, blah. That's just the cover story. Whoa. When you start to look into, and I'm not trying to big this up, but the UK is the head of the snake. Wow. That's a huge statement. The British Empire, this tiny little island of colonialists who send their children to boarding schools to be sodomized aged 8 in order to access diverted brain pathways and genius qualities. It's so deep, people, but maybe I should persevere, because I might have to send my computer away for maybe a week, because everything's full. My phone is full, my computer's full. Sharon Gale's threatening to get me, raided again. So look, let me just persevere. This is just a bit of history, and it's a sign of getting old that you care about your history, but I care about this because it's all been a lie. If we can unravel what's happened in the last 100 years, there's no turning back Revelations, there's no turning back the Apocalypse, Armageddon, and so on. But the Bible says occupy until Jesus comes again. It might be 50 years, who knows? And so we're not supposed to roll over or fall for the imitation, like the imitation that's going on in the Middle East right now, the imitation of end-time prophecies. So for as long as we've got breath, we should still keep fighting. So I'm going to read this. I cried my eyes out. Like, this is just a page of my mother's beautiful handwriting. She had the most beautiful handwriting. So I'll just read you this, and this is only probably for historians, but like Smith family history collected whenever. Now, Cottle Smith is the father of my grandchildren, and Smith is a variation of Sinclair, which is an Illuminati family. But look, let's not go deep. Story related from past generations tells how a man named Roach, R-O-A-C-H, came across from Ireland. See, when my Uncle Vic started a 5-year project to do the Dupree family tree, he was horrified to find they had Irish ancestors. But anyway, so Roach came across from Ireland, bought an estate in Devonshire, England, which included 4 farms. One farm in due course was given to each of the 4 sons. In possession of Mrs. L. Fewings, née Smith, was a Bible. Written on the flyleaf, Mary Ann Roach, Georgian, 1853, given by her Aunt Mary of Mortehoe, it looks like, after her decease to her daughter, Eleanor Elizabeth Locksmith. Locksmith, well, that's funny, isn't it? After her decease to her daughter, Lucy Mary Smith. Who would name somebody Elizabeth Locksmith? Unless that's really too genuine surnames, because like one of the first guys, not the first guy that proposed to me, but one of the early ones, his name was Nicholas Topless. I swear. Who, if a family had the name Topless, right? T-O-P, well, it was spelled L-I-S-S. How would they name their child Nicholas? No, that's some... that's some weird... Anyway, look. Eleanor Elizabeth Locksmith was formerly Elizabeth Lock Roach. Sorry if I'm... you have to have a sense of the bizarre. And married George Joan Smith at Georgian Parish Church, December 1st, 1853. So it's just history, Her father was David Lock Roach, farmer of Croyd, and George Isaac's father was George Smith, farmer of Croyd. The Smith family, therefore, is connected with the Roach and Lock families. All right, well. George Isaac and Eleanor Elizabeth Lock's children were Caroline, Annie, Lucy Mary, Fred and Harry, all of whom married. Now this is where it comes to my grandpa, English grandpa. Harry's children lived in Somerset. Yeah, here we go. And were named Harry, Fred Roach, Stanley, Dorothy, married name Sanders, and Lena Fewings. Fred's children were David and Alfred. Lucy Mary's married name Dupree, that's my mother's maiden name, were Percy, oh this is about Uncle Percy, Percy, George, Bryn, Fred, David, Harry, Alfred, Ivor, Lucy Mary and Doris. Right, so that's where Uncle Percy comes in. Annie, daughter of George Isaac Smith, retained the name Smith by marrying a Smith, probably a cousin. No other details. Her children were Louise, George, Nell, Churchill, what's the Churchill thing? Bessie, Walter Locke, Silas and Frank. Caroline, daughter of George Isaac Smith, married into a family named Burston. Now I've heard that name, Burston. I need to... Right. Locke and Roach family history is collected in 1956. Walter Locke lived in the West Country, England. We've got lots of connections to Wiltshire, Somerset, Devon, Dorset. Date of birth unknown, died 1667. Son also Walter Locke, 60 blah blah. He left son David Locke, blah blah. His wife Rebecca, blah blah. Here's the dog. As far as can be gathered, children were David, Joan, cousin Joan, John, the father David, and the children are shown as from Rowley. So that's just a snippet, but the point I'm making is, according to my daughter's recent DNA analysis, my mother does not have the DNA of her alleged father, Harry Dupree. So either the 5-year family tree research is wrong, or the ancestry.com or whatever it is analysis my daughter got is wrong, or my mother was trafficked, and possibly my sister Fiona suspected to be part of a baby swap operation at RAF Vegberg in the late 1950s. And my niece also is seeking DNA confirmation because she suspects similar discrepancies in her own parentage. So I'm just putting this stuff out there for now because I love the internet and I love the way people are coming back to me and saying, me too, me too. Not in a rah-rah way, but just like, I'm 63, we're dying out. We need to share information before we're gone, and it's gone to the grave. You know, just for the sake of our children, our children's children, and our great-grandchildren. So that's that. All right, God bless. I will continue this. I will. It's huge. I cried my eyes out because just seeing my mother's beautiful handwriting made me cry. But I have very strong indication that MKUltra in the UK, trauma-based mind control, mental control, you know, there's so much research on this, but the Project Paperclip is the sort of label, but that's just touching the surface. I think this was being developed at least since World War One. Oh, there's a lovely white pussycat. The dog will chase you. She's so cute. She's not scared of Ruby. Ruby, there's a pussycat on the wall. Anyway, I'll continue this. Oh, there goes. Oh, scary. Silly. Alright, bye guys. Stay in touch. Please comment. Even though my comments are filtered like they might not come up for a day, please give me feedback on this because I know I'm onto something and I want to get this out before I die. And I might not die. Like, I'm 63. My dad's 94. I might live for fucking ages still. You're too late, Ruby. And it's a nice cat, so don't be mean. Bye. Stay in touch. Thank you.